Isogai pushes out of his seat. He watches you intently as he makes his way over to you, a smile etched onto his face. You watch him just as intently. He sits down in the seat in front of yours. Your teacher had told you to get into your assigned partners. At the beginning of the school year, you and Isogai had met each other during the opening ceremony, and from then on you'd been close-knit friends. You had a few from middle school, but you'd all dispersed into different classes, and they mostly hung out with their club members or teammates. It was a little sad, but you never thought about it much because you had Isogai. You remember the relief flooding through his face when he found out you were in his class. You remember it so well because you knew the exact feeling. At the beginning of the year, when your English teacher had been assigning partners, he'd allowed you to choose your own, with the promise of getting every assignment done. There were a few people who asked Isogai to be their partner before you'd had the chance to even approach him. They were mostly girls, and you couldn't even be mad at them. Isogai was really handsome, and he gave off the puppy love, loyalty, and prince type that most girls love. But he had broken away from them and found you sitting in a corner, hoping someone would approach you, or that you could just be your own partner. He'd approached you slowly, cautiously, and asked to be your partner. Of course, you'd said yes. You said it so fast that the word kind of got stuck in your throat, which caused Isogai to cover his mouth before he gave voice to his laugh. You turned as red as your cheeks could turn and patted your heated cheeks down. You'd looked back up at him, watching as the afternoon spring sun caught his smile that reached his eyes. At just the right angle, his dark hair glared just the perfect shade of brown, and his eyes, gods, his eyes, they were beautiful. That wasn't the only moment you remember of your first day of high school, but all the other moments were just as similar. Isogai smiling at you, Isogai smiling. Yeah, they were all pretty much the same. That's where the nostalgia you're getting right now is coming from. The cool of the winter air surrounds you and him as he watches you, waiting for an answer to the question you didn't hear. Ellen, despite how close you've gotten to him, you still don't call each other by your first names. It's been on the tip of your tongue to ask him, but you haven't had the courage to do so. 1, because you're afraid of rejection, and that would send you into a mass overthinking state. 2, because you're comfortable where you are now and don't want to make anything different or risk it being any different than how it is now. Does that sound like you're talking about confessing to him? Yes, it does. Are you talking about confessing to him? No, you're not. Does that mean you don't have a deathly dangerous crush on him? No, it doesn't, because there's absolutely no way you couldn't have fallen for him in the year you've spent becoming his friend. Ellen? Isogai begins fidgeting with his uniform. He looks down, a bit nervous, which is when you realize you still haven't answered his question. I'm sorry. You smile awkwardly. I was somewhere else, but I'm all ears now, promise. You give him as genuine a smile as you can create. He looks up, red tinting his cheeks, for an odd reason. He looks away, crossing a leg over the other as if to stall for time. Then he opens his mouth and repeats his question. I was wondering, because we're really close, that we could start. He looks at you from the corner of his eyes, forming eye contact with you, calling each other by your given names. Your immediate thought is to say yes, but for some reason, your voice is nowhere to be found. There is slight chatter from your other classmates. Your mind tries to focus on that, but all you hear is Yuuma, 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 Yuuma. It's all your mind wants to think about. Your pupils dilate, then refocus on Isogai, Yuuma, and suddenly you have to go to the bathroom. Your hand instinctively reaches for your cane, and your fingers wrap around the smooth curve. You stand and walk toward your teacher, aware of Isogai Yuuma's eyes on you the entire time. Your English teacher says yes, but his voice is barely audible to your tone-deaf ears. The sounds around you are barely audible as well, but as you reach the classroom door, something breaks through the barrier your mind put up. It's Isogai, his voice to be exact. You turn toward him, your cane accidentally coming into contact with his foot. A groan comes from him. You mumble a slight apology. You try to help him, but find yourself annoyingly useless. Sorry, is what you manage. Then, I just need a moment. For what? Isogai Yuuma asks, pushing down on an empty desk to keep his balance. The words tumble out of your mouth like they did when he asked you to be his partner. To consume the fact that you like me enough to want to call me by my first name. I know it sounds stupid, but I've been trying to build up the courage to ask you the same thing, so I'm a little shocked at the moment and need a splash of water on my face. Like, now? So, yeah. You finish, attempting to breathe. Isogai stares at you, his eyes moving all over your face. He breaks out into a goofy grin. Really? His single-worded response makes you feel stupid. So here comes another embarrassed idiot answer. No? Isogai watches you for a minute with a knowing smile, no longer pained by the small injury of his foot. Slowly, your cheeks increase in heat, and it builds up to your ears, making it obvious you're lying, not to mention the shy smile playing on your lips. You've never been able to keep anything from Isogai Yuuma, so you give in. Sighing, you look down. Yes, you close your eyes, wincing at the word. His chuckles fill the space between you two. He takes 2 strides forward. I'll be waiting for you to get back. I have something else I want to ask you. His voice says he's just teasing, but his eyes say he's completely serious. You roll your eyes, pretending like you didn't see the second half of his statement. You sound way too confident for your own good. You raise an eyebrow. If you think you already know what I'm gonna say, why bother asking? His smile widens, and so do his eyes, like he was hoping you'd reply with some sarcastic quip, such as that one. Gozwan, he says your first name for the first time. You think it sounds good with his voice, comfortable, almost like he's practiced saying it. You snap out of that sidetracked thought and wait for him to continue. He winks. Consent is always needed. He turns and walks back to the desk he was sitting at a few minutes ago before. You watch him, stunned. Then a humorous smile spreads across your face. He turns and raises an eyebrow. You grin like an idiot and turn on your cane and heel. Really thought he ate that. You mumble, laughing at your own joke.